get started. I think everyone on here knows who I am, but yep, Zap, your community lead, now your kind of virtual programming person. Thanks for coming to this webinar. As some tech run-throughs, you're welcome to chat anything in at any given time. Would love if you ever have any questions, honestly, to if you would like to unmute yourself. It has been a small group. I also just want to make everyone aware that tomorrow we have a member town hall at 2 p.m. I would love to see your faces there. Just so you know kind of more about what it is. Our CEO will just be giving updates. And then we're hoping to do a little like breakout exercise where we put people into groups and they kind of talk about what things they want to see the EC doing. 50% is like COVID-19 specific and 50% is just evergreen. Like, let's use this time for us to learn of what really matters to you and would be helpful. But today, obviously, we have the lovely, lovely Lancaster. It's actually funny because I did not do that on purpose right there. That was me trying to save. I actually was just going to call you lovely because I do use that adjective when I present people all the time. But presenting today, and it will be recorded, so if you can't stick around for the entire thing, we'll post it on our YouTube afterwards. But I know the hardest part about these virtual events is that we can't have a round of applause, but we can pretend it in our head. Anyways, lovely, I'll kick things off to you.
Well, listen, the fact that you guys are participating in this webinar is enough of an applause for me. So yes, welcome to Accelerate Business Planning with myself and the EC. We're super excited to extend this knowledge to you guys to help you develop your business concepts into amazing, amazing organizations. Now, understanding of what the SBA standard business plan is the game plan that we're going to go over in a step-by-step implementation. We're also going to help you guys with resources to overcome any of your business startup challenges. And now this is the third of 4 webinars we're going to do. As Zap has already said, we are recording these. So if you can't stay on, or if you missed 1 or 2, we do have them on YouTube. And I don't know, Zap, if you know this, but the first video we did has gone viral. We've had over 2,000 views in about 4 days, which is pretty amazing. So you will be able to access those videos once we're able to record them. But this week's concentration has been a really popular one. We're going to talk about business, professional, and financial planning. Now, pun the name, to the faces or to the voices, so to speak, we have Haley Zap. She is absolutely amazing at everything. I don't know anything, Zap, you can't do well. And then you have myself, lovely Lancaster. We're both going to be facilitating this week's webinar together. Oh, one last thing. I'm going to go back to the screen. So below you see Zap's Instagram handle and my Instagram handle. We have those down there just in case if you have questions that you want to answer and you're having some technical difficulties. You can access us through Instagram and we're still able to pull up your questions. So go ahead and exercise that option if you can't upload them in the system. But I think we had it working pretty well 2 weeks ago when we had our previous webinar. Now, we are practicing social distancing and we are using the hashtag social distance learning. So if there's ever a moment where you have that aha, or the light bulb, goes off your head, or there's something that is said that you want to share with other people, please hashtag with social distant learning. You never know what that can do to help somebody else. So this is just our way of growing the community and expanding what we're getting here out into the ether, so to speak. All right, so let's get into some facts, guys. According to the SBA, there are over 28 million small businesses that make up over 99% of all businesses within the United States. 60%, however, of all new businesses with employees will fail in the first 2 years. And another 50% of those that remain will fail within the first 5 years. So if you look at the big picture, less than 20% of new businesses will survive the first 5 years. All right. So what is a small business according to the SBA? Well, their definition is, depending on your industry, a small business can be defined as a business with a maximum of 250 employees to as much as 1,500. They're privately owned corporations, partnerships, or sole proprietorships that have less revenue than larger businesses. So small businesses, like I said before, make up 99% of all businesses within the United States. So that just gives you a grand picture that big business only make up 1% of the amount of businesses that are established. If you do not have employees, what are you considered if not a small business? Well, this picture describes that to a T. If you have not done so, Robert Kiyosaki is the author of a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I tell everybody, if you ever want to get into business or investing or real estate, whatever, commodity where you're putting your financial future in your own hands, you definitely want to read that book because it really explains the dynamics of how money is earned, and it gives you a perspective as to where you are in the growth curve of things. So let's look at that growth curve. You're either making money actively or passively, regardless of where you're at, in life. So active money being earned is as an employee or self-employed individual. So what this means is if you're getting a W-9 or a W-4 at the end of the year, chances are you are an employee or self-employed individual, or also known as what we call like an independent contractor, okay? Passive earners are those that are big business owners or investors. What that means is they're not making money from hourly wages or from services rendered. They're making money from leverage time of other people or leverage systems or money, okay? One of those three things is working for them, which in return is providing them with a passive income. They're no longer working for it. So ultimately, according to Robert Kiyosaki's book, your goal is to transition from the active side of the quadrant to the passive side. Okay. And that's what the whole purpose, I believe, of establishing a business is to improve your life, help you build more wealth so you're able to provide a legacy for your family, and also self-gratification that just makes life worth living, right? So just take a look at this picture and truly decide or determine where you're at and where you want to be. All right. So why do 80% of businesses fail within the first 5 years? Well, it's due to any or all of these different things on the list, but let's start with no market need, meaning there's no financial feasibility to grow your business. Insufficient capital, meaning that you did not start with enough money to sustain you long term. Lack of adequate leadership, meaning you didn't have a successful business model to follow. Lack of partnerships, meaning that you didn't create enough of a community to sustain your business as far as new client retention. Poor product, meaning that, compared to the competition, your product or service just didn't, meet current market expectations. Bad business model. So what that means is you adapted a business model, but it just didn't fit your demographic or just didn't fit your circumstance. Poor customer service, meaning you don't know necessarily how to connect with your clients, so you lose them. Inability to pivot, meaning that when circumstances change, like COVID-19, you only know of one way to sustain yourself and you're unable to explore new possibilities. Bad location, meaning that you may have a wonderful product, you may have everything established, but no one really knows how to reach you, or you're in a position where people can't find you. Mismanagement of resources, meaning that basically as things come in, they go out just as fast. So you're not using what you have efficiently to sustain yourself long term. So a lot of these are different reasons why businesses fail. However, I believe that there's one particular thing that a lot of businesses do not do that ultimately causes them to fail, but we're going to get into the solution while we define what that is. And guys, it's really simple. It's simply writing a business plan, right? So according to the SBA, 90% of businesses will launch without an effective and well thought out business plan. Guys, that's really alarming. That's 90%. So ask yourself, have you created an effective business plan that is going to launch and sustain your business for at least the next 5 years? And if you haven't, then you are definitely in the right place today. So did you know it takes a team of professionals to write an effective business plan? So it's going to take a team of consultants such as myself or resources like the Nashville Entrepreneur Center, attorneys, accountants, marketing professionals, realtors, as well as specialized people with expertise that's pertaining to your specific industry that's going to provide you with that value proposition to establish yourself as a contender among competitors and also as the best option for the market. You guys, it's easy to think of or to come up with a business, but it is so important, and it could be the most difficult thing to do, which is to build that community around you that is going to support and sustain you, especially during difficult times like this. So, before writing a business plan and or launching your business concept, it is very important to do your research, okay? And that's what we're going to get into today. Now, last week we talked about market research and really implementing what your organization is going to look like. But now we're going to get into the nitty gritty of what it takes to ensure your business is financially sound. Okay, so we're going to go over professional development, standard operating procedures, establishing partnerships, funding, and then long-term financial planning. Now, if you have not sat in on one of these webinars before, I want you to get a pen and paper. And the reason why we're going to do this is I truly believe that through the ability or the exercise of brainstorming, we expand our horizon of what is to come or what can happen, or at least the possibilities of what we can do in the near future. So this week, I want us to think about our business ultimate goals as far as our financials, our professional, and our personal expectations, right? Let's think about the type of lifestyle you want to live, what type of car you're driving, house you're living in, are you traveling? How much money do you have in the bank? These are the things that I want you to brainstorm for the next 3 minutes. And the reason why is success is determined by our ability to achieve what we set out to go after. And if you have not done so already, this is going to be the defining moment of your business success, because here is where you're going to establish what the finish line looks like. So let's go ahead and sit in silence for about 3 minutes, and we are going to brainstorm everything we want from our business and within our business. So we have about 1 more minute. All right, so our brainstorming session is complete, and I hope you guys have mapped out what your finish line looks like. And now we're going to go into the journey of what it's going to take to get you there. All right, so before we get into our financials or our business planning, it's very important to understand that the success of our business is going to rise and fall on us as the captain of the ship, so to speak. So professional development is going to be key and essential to the level of success you're going to obtain. Without professional development, it is extremely difficult to grow a business. No entrepreneur possesses all of the skill set needed to successfully run a business. As your business grows, so does your skill set as a leader and a manager. A true entrepreneur understands that their role will change as the business evolves. The greatest gift you can give the world is your own professional development. Listen, guys, this says a mouthful, but it is so true. You do not need to have it all together professionally in order to successfully launch and sustain a business. But what you do have to have together is the game plan in which is going to show you where your shortcomings are so you can implement relationship in place of those things that you're lacking so you can function as a full thriving organization. So I don't want you to be worried about your insufficiencies. We all have them. Zap can tell you we are, a community of practicing entrepreneurs. We don't get it right. I can tell you I fail in my business almost every day only because I am, very driven. But I have lost a lot of clients over even just the most recent 2 months. And some of it was because of my shortcomings. But what I have done is instead of Lovely trying to make Lovely better, I have decided to focus more on growing a community of people that are better in areas where I'm lacking, and then allowing my business to leverage their growth, their strengths, so my customers are still able to get that high level of expectation from me, even though it's not necessarily, me specifically. So I want you to just think about those areas where you're lacking and don't look at them as weakness, but look at them as possibilities of the opportunity it is now provided to someone else that is in need, dire need of exercising their talents through your business. All right. So this is just a short list of what is comprised within professional development, but your elevator pitch, if you do not know how to initiate a conversation about your business, then that is truly a weakness you will have to get over. And one of the things that I do in my strategy session with clients is the very first thing we do is we go over your elevator pitch. So you're able to pique people's interest and convert them into a potential prospect or client within 15 seconds, right? So it's very important to know how to verbally communicate what it is you do in a way that piques interest and make people want to learn more about you and your business. Second is closing process. If there's no closing process, then you'll be wonderful at piquing people's interest and networking, but you will have no clue how to close a sale. And without the ability to close a sale, you will go bankrupt. And I'm trying to shine light on that because it is very awkward for us to ask for a sale. But guys, you deserve, and a person in front of you who's been giving you their time for however long you've been in front of them, they deserve for you to give them an opportunity to do business with you. So I look at closing as a service, not as a duty or obligation, because duty and obligations make you nervous because we know that that other person can say no. But when you are focused on service and you follow through with the close, rather they say yes or no, you have done your job and you have excelled beyond measure as an entrepreneur. Next is culture. So what I love about culture is the one thing that is going to separate you from the competitors. So sure, there may be a plethora of people that are doing the same thing you're doing, but I promise you, they're not doing it like you. Your culture is your unique value proposition. It is the one thing that sets you apart and make other people want to do business over your competitors. So it's very important to decide what your culture is. What are you going to be known for? You know, what things that are important to your community are important to you. And that is what's going to create that community or your percentage of market share to expand your business. Next is servant leadership. Servant leadership is a type of leadership model and personnel management model that allows your employees or those who's working underneath you to have more investment within the success of your organization without ownership. If you have not looked into servant leadership, I do classes on this, but it teaches you how to basically take care of the needs of those who are working for you. So it frees them up mentally to take care of the needs of the organization. So instead of power and expectations of an organization being like a pyramid model or maybe like a trickle down effect, it is more like a rollover or like a circular model where success is basically reciprocated among everyone within the organization equally. So it's not like the CEO is on top and everybody is, doing what that person says. No, the CEO is at the bottom and the employees is at the top because we as business owners are providing a living eventually for some of these people. So it's our job to provide for them so they can carry out our goals as a whole as far as being an organization. Hospitality. So I live in the great town or city of Nashville, and we are in the South, and Southern hospitality is a big deal. And I'm going to tell you, if you have an ability to attract people through having good manners and just being genuine, it will go a long way, even if you mess up within your business. So I am begging you, if you don't take anything that I say to you today, learn how to just be nice to people, regardless of the circumstances, and you will be amazed at how far that gesture will take your business professionally. Workplace behavior. So I believe that if you as a business owner do not know how to establish boundaries within your organization, then there will never be an expectation of excellence within your organization. So I truly believe by you deciding what is tolerable within your organization and what isn't, is going to teach people how to treat you as well as the clients that you attract. So it's very important to establish an expectation of workplace behavior that is acceptable and what isn't acceptable. Last but not least is personnel management, right? What type of management style are you going to adopt? Is it going to be more of a cohesive, maybe micromanaged model, or is it going to be more of a, hey, I have an idea, you guys go and freelance it and get back to me in a week? Like, really think about the type of personnel management model that you want to adopt and make sure that it matches with the intellectual abilities of those that you're looking to attract. And guys, by working on your professional development, it is going to help you in 4 areas. It's going to help you as far as your earning potential. It literally adds zeros to your bank account. So if you're making, maybe a few $1,000s a month, adding an extra zero can ultimately change the course, of not just your business, but your personal life. And the way you do that is going to be through professional development. Next is going to improve your quality of life, right? When you are achieving at what it is you set out to do, guys, it feels really good. And it also affects the other, attributes of your life, like relationships and professional. And, I can go on and on in that realm. But guys, really being successful in your business really make you a more rounded, happier person. Next is your business performance. When you are able to overcome certain objectives, it gives you the confidence to expand what it is you can overcome. So it allows you to solve deeper, more complex solutions, which will help you to corner more of the market share. So I really want you guys to be prepared to fail, but understand that those failures are only stepping stones or preparations for you truly reaching your true destiny or that ultimate problem that you're set out, to find a solution for. Because that's ultimately what we are as entrepreneurs. We are solution finders, right? Or solution givers, right? Last but not least is sustainability. When you work on yourself, it gives you the thrive to push through the craziness that comes with life, right? There's nothing that can stop you, nothing that can stand in your way because you are prepared to overcome it. All right, so let's get into standard operating procedures. And for those of you who do not know what a standard operating procedure is, it is literally the day-to-day business practices of your organization. Now, write this stuff down as a part of your business plan is not necessarily for us as the entrepreneur. This is going to be for your organization as you grow. It's almost like the step-by-step blueprint of duplicating yourself. So standard operating procedures, also known as an SOP, is a step-by-step guide compiled by an organization that helps workers carry out complex routine and daily operations. So SOPs aim to maintain a high level of efficiency without compromising on quality while delegating tasks. SOPs act as a uniform standard of practices that reduces miscommunication, failure to comply among workers. And although you may not need a standard operating procedure when you first launch your business, it is, however, very important to establish one once you decide to hire help, because this is basically the roadmap to duplicating you and your culture and your expectations, okay? So these are just some of the parts of what will be within a standard operating procedure or an SOP. And that's going to be your hours of operation, right? And that's one boundary that you need to establish, right? When are you going to open? When are you going to close? So that expectation is communicated not just to your potential employees, but also to the marketplace. Also, personnel management. Personnel management is basically the expectations that you're going to set out for your personnel to govern themselves by to ensure that they are compliant to the business practices already established by you, the leader of the organization. Next is policies and procedures. So policies and procedures are basically what you're expecting out of people, but you have the ability to write it down in black and white, right? These are going to be the guidelines that is not just established by you, but also maybe by the guidelines of your insurance limitations or within the compliance of state and government, regulation. These are going to think the rules that govern everybody's business practices to make sure that they stay ethical while working under, your leadership and recognition of your brand. Okay. State and federal safety guidelines. So, guys, it is very important to understand what OSHA and WISHA is. These are organizations that is going to make sure that you understand what these safety guidelines or practices are on a state and government level. And if you need help finding that stuff, of course, I can help you with that. But especially if you're doing something that's dangerous, like maybe construction, or you're dealing with the public, like, being a beautician, it is really important to understand that there are already preordained guidelines that govern your business practices. And if you're not aware of them, sorry, but according to, the laws that rule the land, ignorance is not bliss. So it's really important to be in the know of these things before, launching your business. Next is sexual harassment. So it's really important, guys, that you have something in place in as far as how to counteract that. It limits the lawsuits that can be pending against you in the future by doing so. And a lot of this is just asset protection at this point. You want to protect your brand, and you also want to protect your people. And by being a good servant leader, you're preparing for those moments in which you may need to step in and protect them. And having a good sexual harassment and discrimination policy in place will show them that I am taking care of you. All right, so let's get into establishing partnerships. Now, guys, this is one of my favorite things to talk about because it is so important. I want you to understand that 80% of your business revenue will come from establishing professional partnerships. Now, partnerships are going to be with other business owners or professionals within the market share that is sharing your same target market, but may not be competing, businesses. And so, for instance, let's say that I am an insurance agent and I want to get more insurance leads. Chances are I probably am going to want to build partnerships with realtors or, auto sales companies or, lenders, right? I want to build relationships with people who, it's a part of their policy that their customers get insurance. So why not me be their source to that? And it's really important to establish these partnerships because if you don't, you're leaving as much as 80% of your market share on the table for your competitors. So before I get into that, let me just say this. Putting in the work to build solid, long-lasting business relationships can give you a huge advantage over the competition. Your network should be a selective group of qualified people you count on professionally. It takes talent to build effective relationships, which I believe is essential to growing your business. So, I would recommend, if you have not done so already, build at least 100 partnership relationships with non-competing organizations, businesses, and or professional people. And the thing is, all of them are not going to bring you business, but at least 20% will, and 80% of your revenue should come from that. So even if you do no marketing, you can substantiate a pretty amazing, business with a decent amount of revenue just through the partnerships and relationships you have the ability to establish. All right, so let's get into funding. This is a really big one because a lot of us know we need the funding, but we're really not quite sure how to get it. And what I want to talk to you guys about is starting that relationship of partnerships I was telling you about is going to come from the business or banking institutions that you're currently working with. If you know that you do not have enough money to sustain your business for the next 2 to 5 years, it is very important that you get in front of a banker that is a provider of SBA funding to help you grow your business, okay? And they're going to give you the qualifiers in which you will need to obtain funding. But one big one, guys, is working on our credit, right? Our credit worthiness is very important. And in most cases, what I'm finding is if you don't have at least a 680 credit score, your chances of getting a loan right now is slim to none, just simply because the competition is so high, because we've had an unprecedented amount of people apply for loans. We're talking 14 years of applications have been processed within just the last 2 months. So that just goes to show you that the more people that ask for these loans, then the higher the expectation is. And right now, it is a lot of people asking. So I am going to recommend that if you have not taken your credit worthiness serious up to this point, today is your defining moment to do so. Okay, get with, your banking institution. They can help you as to how to move forward, or you can find a consultant that specializes in that. I am a consultant that does that, so I can help you, govern your finances in a way that will increase your credit score so you do have the worthiness to move forward. But guys, ultimately, even if you don't decide to work with me or another consultant, just find a trustworthy lending institution, that is a SBA, lending, institution, and they will help you. Don't be afraid, don't be embarrassed. Actually, almost everyone have credit issues until they need to use their credit. So I don't want you to feel bad if you are lacking that worthiness in this moment. That can be something that can be replaced or fixed. Now, that's just a piece of the pie, because funding is it's a step-by-step process. You have to make sure that you know what you need to use the money for, and that's what we're about to get into. But funding, guys, is really about just establishing a relationship. So I want you guys to choose at least 3 banks that you're maybe interested in sitting down with and letting them know informally what your business concept is. You may not even have to bring in your whole business plan. Just come in with your executive summary. That will be enough to just initiate a conversation, and they will ask you the questions that they need to know to move forward. And that will help you to decide, what emphasis you need to make within your business plan. All right. Long-term financial planning. So I asked a question in a business group on Facebook, I want to say about 3 months ago. And that question was, when you launched your business, did you sit down with the financial planner first? And almost everyone said no. And then I got to thinking, why is that? Right? We are in business to make money, yet we do not want to take the time to sit down with the one person that can help us do so. So I am highly recommending that you create a long-term plan financially to building wealth, even outside of your current business concept. Okay? Because the truth is, 80% of us is going to fail within our business within the first 5 years. And if it does fail, should your wealth, should your retirement, should the course of your life financially rise and falls on the expectation of your business thriving? It shouldn't. Because the truth is, wealth building is all about what you save or what you keep, not what you earn. Okay? So understanding that you can't solve money with more money. Okay, a money problem is more of an emotional problem than it is a tangible or problemable one. But if it isn't, then I highly recommend that you sit down with a wealth or financial planner. All right. So for those of you who have not sat down with a professional within the financial industry, I'm going to give you a crash course on money. Okay. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the rule of 72. And if any of you guys have ever heard of the rule of 72, just start leaving some comments saying, yes, I have, or no, I haven't. But guys, the rule of 72 is basically Finance 101. And the rule of 72 is a formula that basically tells you how fast money or debt grows based on an interest rate. So I want to give you guys an example, okay? We have example number one and example number two, which is a 40-year-old person, okay? They have $10,000 to start with. And one of them is going to be earning, interest at 1%, and the other is going to be earning interest at 10% over time. Now, using the rule of 72, you're going to take 72 and divide it by the number of the interest rate, and it's going to tell you in years how fast your money will double. So let's take this. Guy is 40 years old with $10,000. He's earning an interest increase of 1%. So what that means is 72 divided by 1 equals 72 years. So by doing simple math, you take that $10,000 and times it by 2, by the age of 112 years old, example number one will have $20,000. Now the question is, can you be okay with, living another 72 years just to double $10,000? Probably not, right? That may not be the best financial decision for you. Yet, over 90% of Americans leave their money in accounts such as a banking account, a checking account, savings account, CDs, that is yielding 1% or even less. So with that in mind, you may want to consider, I may not be doing the best thing to grow my money long term. Now let's look at example number two. 40 years old, $10,000, but he's earning 10% on his money. So if you take 72 divided by 10, that is 7.2. So example number two is doubling their money every 7 years. So let's think about that. At age 40, they got $10,000. At age 72, they have $47,000, or excuse me, $40,000, right? At 54, you have $80,000. You get the drift. Every 7 years, that money is doubling. By the time that person is 70, 80 years old, they can have as much as $640,000 saved up, all starting with the same $10,000 investment. And the only difference was which vehicle they put their money in. So I want you to truly think about, where are you putting your money? And also think about debt, right? What debt do you have and what interest rate is that debt growing at? And if you have more debt growing than money working for you, then I highly recommend you sit down with a financial planner or a wealth advisor such as myself that can help you to come up with a game plan to help you reach your financial goals. All right. So there's three ways that money grows, okay, in the market. You have something called fixed market rate, you have index market rate, and you have variable market rates. And these are just different types of products that yield you returns based on the type of product you have. So with fixed interest rates, basically what that means is you just get one interest rate. It doesn't go up, it doesn't go down. It has no fluctuation at all. These are going to be safer accounts that you're going to invest in. They're probably going to be your banking accounts, CDs, savings, checking, just to name a few. very safe, very liquid, but they have ultimately little or no growth to it, as I just explained in example number one. With a variable account, you're going to have a lot of fluctuation as far as increases or decreasing within your percentage rates. These are going to be your stock market products, IRAs, 401ks, mutual funds, just to name a few. Now, what's really amazing about these products is you have the ability to have huge returns. I'm talking in the last quarter, I was seeing as much as 30% returns on investments, which is, historically, a crazy, number as far as rate of return. But, if we think back to 2008, when a recession hit, people lost everything. So yes, you have, you're open to big returns, but you're also could be open to devastation. And depending on where you're at in life, you have to ask yourself some difficult questions. Can I afford to lose my retirement right now? And if you can't, you may want to think about some safer products. Now, variable accounts is a little bit different than other financial products because they're backed by life insurance products. But with variable, you have the liquidity of banking accounts, and you have the high-end returns of variable accounts, but you have the safety net of, of it being more of a life insurance product than an actual financial product. And what's really amazing about these is they're hybrids. They're retirement accounts, they're insurance, protection, their income for life, accounts. It's a lot of things you can do within a variable account as far as long-term growth, and without, the nervousness or the risk of losing your money as it grows. So I just wanted to give you guys an overview of how money grows, so now you can understand how money is taxed, okay? Money is taxed now, is taxed later, or it could be taxed never. So money that is taxed now is going to be money earned in a banking institution. So I'm sure you guys have received something called, a 1099 INT, and it was probably from your bank. And what they were saying is, we reported to Uncle Sam that you made X amount of money in interest this year, and you have to claim it. They want you to pay taxes on it right now. The good thing about variable accounts is you may not have to pay money on the taxes that you put into those accounts right away, but you will have to pay on it later. And let's think of the example 1 and 2 back from the rule of 72 earlier. Would you rather pay your taxes on the seed, which was $10,000, or would you want to pay taxes on the harvest, which could be as much as $640,000? So even though you have advantages of a lot of growth, you also have some huge tax implications later. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. With variable accounts, however, your growth is not susceptible to taxes. So not with variable, with index. So with index accounts, you don't pay taxes on that money, which is pretty amazing. So imagine earning that $640,000 tax-free. Okay. So again, you may need to speak to a financial advisor or a wealth, advisor if you want to learn more about those particular products. Now, if you guys have not, like I said, sat down with a financial advisor or wealth advisor, I am one. I would love to sit down and talk with you to help you, plan for long-term growth financially within your business as well as outside of your business. But honestly, guys, just Google someone nearby you if you want to. There is a lot of highly ethical business planners and advisors that can move you in the right direction, depending on your level of risk tolerance. All right. So our mission today, guys, is to be an assistance to you, regardless of where you are in the planning or in the development stages of launching your business. And Zap, do you want to just go over the amazingness that comes with being a part of the Nashville Entrepreneur Center?
Sure. I'm not gonna lie, I do think everyone here is already very much an active member. But right now for virtual programming, we're doing a webinar once a week. Let me know if there's a topic you want to see because I can probably find it. And then we're doing Founder Friday. Make sure you're on Slack and make sure you come to the town hall tomorrow to kind of talk about what's going on with everything. And then I'll put my email in the chat box if you'd like to get a hold of me at all.
Cool. And myself, so I am the founder of Celebrity BMI Group, and we are a business solution company. What we do is we help you to grow your business in three ways. We help you to expand your market share, increase your profit margins, and grow your customer base using strategic and marketing techniques to do just that. So I would love to sit down and talk with you. I work very closely with the Nashville Entrepreneur Center as an advisor to you guys. So even if you just wanted 15 minutes with me just to pick my brain, just by being a part of the Entrepreneur Center here in Nashville, you have that direct access to me. So I highly recommend using it. Now I will tell you, since we've been doing these webinars, I have been extremely booked up with sessions. So bear with me. If you try to schedule and we're unable to, I promise you, we got your information. As soon as things free up a little bit, I will get with you if you do have that little bit of patience. But guys, between, myself, Zap, and community of the Nashville Entrepreneur Center, we are here to help you. And if you are ready, truly ready and serious about growing your business, let's do so together. Let's create, a plan that is going to work effectively to you, and get an accountability with either myself or someone within the Entrepreneur Center that can hold you accountable to the things that need to be done. Now, if you do want to book a free strategy session with me, here is my direct information. My email is lovelyplancaster@gmail.com. You can email me directly, or you can just simply just give me a call. I prefer a text, honestly, 931-220-3035. I would love to sit down with you and work with you further. Unfortunately, with the webinar, we do have time restraints, and I wish I can get more and more into things, but that's what the strategy session is for. So please be sure to reach out to myself or the Nashville Entrepreneur Center if you are looking to move forward. So at this time, if you have any questions, now is the time to do so. I have seen a flood of questions come through, so I am ready to answer them. So fire away, guys.
Lovely. I think the first one I was sent in is asking, how do you find out lenders who are SBA institutions?
Oh, awesome. So a good place to start would be the SBA website, so sba.gov. And they have basically by state, you can find the entire list of SBA approved lenders within your state. And I also believe is broken down by county. So, go to sba.gov and find, their lending partners, and just, narrow it down from, your state to your county or even your zip code. And it will provide you with a local list of lenders that will be able to help you move forward.
And then I'll just comment, a lot of people wanted to see the slides. So if you want to send the slides to me, lovely, then I'll send a follow-up email to everyone with the slides
Oh,
as well as the YouTube
absolutely.
link.
Yes, so I will make sure I send that to you in a PDF version so everyone who needed the slides can have them. And you know what? I'm not sure if I gave you the slides from all of the other sessions as well. So maybe we can just send everyone, maybe a video link from YouTube as well as the slides so they can get caught up if they haven't tuned into all the other webinars.
Yep, I think that'd be perfect.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okie dokie then. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully see
Yeah.
you tomorrow.
Awesome. Take care. And thank you guys so much for allowing me to facilitate. Continue to be safe and practice social distancing.